It's crunch time in Lynchburg. You might hear the echoes from a different area code as the speakers get set to erupt in Turner Gymnasium, where the Lynchburg Hornets ready themselves for a run at the postseason. Ignite the red sirens for Code Red Day as the hometown squad does battle with conference foe Virginia Wesleyan. From the snowy setting of the Hill City, I am Evan Gates, and here to absorb the action with me, my very good friend, Ethan Morotsky.
Well, it's going to be a fantastic day of basketball. Like you said, Code Red game. This is one of the most exciting days on campus for every single team and every single student. You can come in and support the big bright red color for the Lynchburg Hornets and just enjoy having a fantastic night in sports for Lynchburg.
It feels like a different type of energy, and this Lynchburg women's team elects to go later with their Code Red event this year against Virginia Wesleyan tonight. Last year, it was all the way back in November against a Roanoke team that came in and got the victory. Lynchburg hopes to write a different narrative tonight, and we'll take a look at some of those stats coming into this game to understand where these two teams fare, 10th and 12th in the conference standings. And so obviously room for improvement, but we know Lynchburg starting to shoot the ball better in their last few contests. Virginia Wesleyan, a squad that hung with Lynchburg in the first matchup of the season.
Well, one thing that stands out for both these teams, when you look at Virginia Wesleyan, we talked about how they are the complete opposite really of Lynchburg. They're not really a team that's going to shoot a ton of three-pointers. And one thing that stands out that Lynchburg's going to have to take advantage of is the turnovers that Virginia Wesleyan has. They give up quite a few turnovers per game. Both these teams looking for a win, obviously, but more importantly, Lynchburg, it's going to be really important for them to take a win here. They have playoff hopes in their own hands, and their destiny is really in their own fate. So it's really going to be important to win this game tonight on the Code Red.
Well, quite a few turnovers, too, might be a little generous. 22 to Virginia Wesleyan's name per game, and so they're trying to really trim those down. And we know Lynchburg has taken advantage, but something Coach Nichols has talked about in the last few games is taking advantage of that transition style. This Lynchburg team likes to get off and run, but again, how much can they control this game by getting out in a hurry in this first quarter?
Well, when you look at the last game that Lynchburg played, it was really kept close, and especially with this against Virginia Wesleyan earlier in this season, they won by the likes of Bree Spainhour. When you look, and Audra Petty, when you look at combining for 37 points, scoring 19 and 18 each. Now, when you look at the history, Virginia Wesleyan is still up 30 to 24, but it's going to be really important to keep your best players active for Lynchburg.
Well, their best players have certainly changed throughout the year. Players have had different spurts at different times. Bree Spainhour, somebody you mentioned who has been a staple down low. She's going to have to be big in this contest against a Virginia Wesleyan roster that boasts 3 freshmen in that starting lineup. And you see, despite having just one conference win this year, they're getting so much experience. Those 3 freshmen that have really ignited this team being Bree Robinson, Brianna Long, and of course Jaden Hunter, who missed the first contest against Lynchburg earlier this season.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. I mean, freshmen in your lineup they're much more important than you really think. Obviously, they're your latest recruiting class, but it just shows how important that the future is for a program. You see only 3 on this team, so it really kind of gives you an insight for how they're going to recruit for the next couple years. So freshmen they're a lot more important, and obviously if you can get a freshman going in their first year, that just makes it even better for the coaching staff.
Well, let's go ahead and look at some of the players to watch. We mentioned Virginia Wesleyan's freshmen. They also have some experience, and Keegan Schwab, the grad student from Fairfax Station, Virginia, has been somebody who is no different, averaging just under 14 points per game. She has really ignited a spark for the squad, and after transferring from American to Mary Washington, she's finding her home here at Virginia Wesleyan, and she's really starting to show us why.
Well, it may have taken her 5th year as you look at she's a grad student, but finding your home is one of the most comforting places. And if you're Virginia Wesleyan, obviously you've been struggling a little bit this season. Looking at a player like Keegan Schwab, you kind of have to make sure you look for her in your games and look for your experience, especially later on in the season. So it's going to be really important that she has a good game today against Lynchburg.
And then for Lynchburg's side, look no further than Olivia Harris. 979 career points coming into this contest. She's searching for 1,000 and certainly on track to do it this season, and really just a great part of this backcourt in the sense that she didn't start a single game last year. She has been so consistent for Coach Nichols' squad in this campaign.
Well, Olivia Harris is one of those players that every single coach wants on her or wants on your roster. She always is out there hustling. She plays until the whistle. She plays until the buzzer. She's the perfect five-tool athlete that you want. She plays offense. She can play defense. She loves shooting the ball, and she loves having the ball. She's your perfect example of a hardcore player that you want on your team.
We have set the storyline, 40 minutes to tell the rest. Evan Gates and Ethan Maratsky here in the Hill City will take you through all of it between Lynchburg and Virginia Wesleyan on the other side.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
Welcome back to Turner Gymnasium. Code Red Night here between Lynchburg and Virginia Wesleyan, originally slated for Wednesday night, and obviously the snow in Lynchburg has played a little bit of a factor, but we're still heating things up here in Turner Gymnasium. Virginia Wesleyan is heating things up with their coaching staff. First-year head coach Megan Bello has taken over the program, previous assistant at Dickinson, and she just has so much optimism in the sense that she really enjoys this roster and enjoys the trust that they've instilled in her, with her being the coach for the first season for the Marlins.
Well, coming into your first season, obviously not the perfect results that you want. Obviously, it's going to be tough. The ODAC, we say it in every single broadcast, no matter what sport it is. The ODAC is always such a tough conference to come into, and for a first year, she's really just getting settled in, and we're expecting that she's going to do better in her later season. So it's exciting for her.
It's been so fun to see what she has already accomplished, just getting the culture on the right trajectory. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the starters for this contest. First, for Virginia Wesleyan, a very consistent roster. We also mentioned that Jaden Hunter did not play in that first contest versus Lynchburg. Maybe an X factor today, and the Marlins continue to set the table in other ways. Our player to watch, Keegan Schwab, with Mason Blaylock, Bree Robinson, and Bree Long, three freshmen in that starting lineup, Ethan.
Well, three freshmen in your starting lineup. It is late in the season. Like we said earlier, they're not having the most successful season. Maybe this is a time where you really want to find out who is going to be that important key player next year when you're looking at the starting lineup for Virginia Wesleyan.
So much upside for this Marlins squad. It is a tough conference, like we've mentioned. Now two teams ranked between W&L and Randolph-Macon, but rest assured, this Virginia Wesleyan team wants to wreck the picture and a chance to certainly attack that conference tournament in the years to come. For Lynchburg's team, it's a very familiar starting five as well. The same starting lineup we've grown accustomed to seeing, led by Olivia Harris and Kate Littlejohn in the backcourt. Audra Petty, the freshman, is down low with Brooke Kaysen and Bree Spainhour, two other staples for this lineup. Lynchburg going to be in the home whites, Virginia Wesleyan, the visiting blues, and up and away we go in the Hill City. Mason Blaylock really one of the primary ball handlers for this Marlins squad, but the leading scorer, Keegan Schwab, just continues to find ways to elevate her performance. Immediately, the Marlins go down low, up and off the mark. Rebounded by Spainauer.
Really great defense there from Audra Petty, not letting her get any space in the paint.
So much growth this season for Audra Petty, who attacks the rim up and in, right off the glass for the first points of the night. And she is just looking so much more comfortable on the court for Coach Nichols' squad.
She's really doing it on both sides, and that was a perfect example there, showing her skills on defense and then going in, driving in for an easy layup.
Read the defense well, known for her three-point shooting, a 37% shooter from beyond the perimeter this season. This is a Virginia Wesleyan squad passing around the perimeter, but they don't take a lot of three-pointers. You might see Lynchburg trying to go low on some of those screens. Marlins gonna get the shot off, and Bree Spainauer sent it downstairs, and the Hornets take over.
When you look at it, that was pretty good passing by Virginia Wesleyan. They were finding some open girls in the space and just some deflections by Lynchburg defense and a really nice block by Spainauer.
That help defense inside. This is not a tall Lynchburg lineup. Let's go ahead and clear any confusion in that department. But Bree Spainauer is so versatile. She gets so many blocks throughout the season. Now Olivia Harris, shifty to move outside. Petty thought about it from the corner. A step too quick. We're headed the Marlins' way.
Well, going back to previous games for Lynchburg, the traveling has really been a killer for this Lynchburg offense. So we're going to try and clean it up here and find a win. Keep the turnovers to a minimum.
That's right, and we talked about it with the Marlins, who averaged 22 per game, but Lynchburg has certainly committed their fair share of turnovers throughout the season as well. The Marlins last time out versus Roanoke allowed 42 points in the paint and 22 points off turnovers, and when you do that, I mean, that's pretty much the game.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can keep your turnovers to a minimum and score on their turnovers, you got a pretty good chance at having some success in the game.
A lot of control as Olivia Harris had everything but the bucket. Rattles out, and the Marlins look to pass to Schwab, going down to the paint. Rebounded by the freshman Long, who loses control, and the Hornets want to get off to the races. 2 points in the first 2 minutes, but Lynchburg getting some good looks and generating quick offense. This time they pass outside to Petty. Searching for the cutters. Here's Brooke Kaysen. Now down low to Spainauer, isolated, going around Long, off the mark. Great defense from number 30 in blue.
Really good focus on Virginia Wesleyan, not letting Bree Spainauer play her type of basketball.
And on the other end, the Marlins able to grab two. Jaden Hunter, the freshman that is really turning into a stud, a freshman from Hampton, Virginia. And Coach Bello has spoken so highly of what Jaden Hunter has in her ceiling and that trajectory. You know, when talking about her, she said she's a special one. Her ability to change the game is one of one, and we're going to see it in the next few years for the Marlins.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's so exciting if you're on the coaching staff. Knowing you have a player like that for the next couple years, it's so fantastic to have on your players.
Certainly builds confidence as Jada Norman steps into the contest. Olivia Harris has two at the stripe. A Lynchburg team that has started getting to the free throw line more and more as the season has come to the climax. Really went through a spurt against some of the conference's best opponents where they really weren't generating any free throw opportunities.
Well, free throws are so important for this team. We've seen in the past that they have struggled a little as of the last couple of years, and knowing that you're going to get a lot of fouls in this one and you're going to be at the free throw line, it's so important to knock down from the charity stripe.
You want to try to equalize against a Marlins team that really gets to the free throw line at a high rate. They have 345 free throw attempts to Lynchburg's 259, so almost a 100-point disparity. Here's Littlejohn, wraps around with that right hand up and in. So fantastic getting to the hoop, and Littlejohn, the Roanoke transfer, adds two to the tally.
A beautiful job finding the open space to the right of the paint, and then not an easy layup for Littlejohn, but she finds a way to knock it down.
Penetration has really opened up throughout the season. How about the mid-range from Jada Norman? Sinks an easy jumper. 6 starts this season for Norman, the senior out of Chesterfield. Ethan, what's so interesting with this roster is a lot of those seniors got a high number of starts last season, but with all the freshmen coming in for Coach Bello's squad, it's a little different. They might be having bench minutes, but everybody seems to be cooperating and communicating at a high level.
Well, having 6 first years on your team, it's really tough, and you also have to remember Keegan Schwab, the grad student transferring in, you're not going to have space to start all of your seniors, so when you have 7 new faces on this roster, you're really going to have to, throughout the season, find out who's going to be your starting players and who's going to be the key players off the bench.
Well, 4 players for the Marlins have started every contest this season. They're looking to keep that consistency in the years to come as the three-pointer misses everything from Norman. A few bounces out, and Lynchburg takes over with 5:37 here in the first quarter.
Well, what I love from Norman is that her shots, she looks confident, and that's exactly what you get from your seniors. We were just talking about it. Confidence and experience is so key when it comes to your upperclassmen, and that's what we're seeing from Norman.
Got to have composure. As we mentioned already, Virginia Wesleyan does not shoot the 3-ball often. Brooke Kaysen does off the iron. And here come the Marlins in transition. Options for Bree Robinson. Oh, wow. Found herself an empty space. Still couldn't connect on the layup. Just trying to shovel it into the paint. Here's Schwab for 3. Laces and fires. And the Marlins get away with a 3-pointer. Bree Robinson was almost as open as Waffle House in that corner. And eventually Virginia Wesleyan connects.
Yeah, really nice move, finding that open space. Got some nice passes going around, finding Schwab, your grad student.
See Coach Bello hustling over to help her player up. Macy Mullins set to enter after the media timeout, but so far the Marlins lead Lynchburg 7-5, and we'll take a quick break here on LHSN. It's Code Red Night in the Hill City. We're having a lot of fun.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Back with you on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Kevin Gates and Ethan Morotsky taking you through this Code Red contest between Virginia Wesleyan and Lynchburg. We mentioned Virginia Wesleyan's last time out versus Roanoke, a 68-56 defeat at home in Virginia Beach. Well, Lynchburg coming off a 91-57 loss to Washington and Lee, who has been a perennial powerhouse in this conference as Schwab travels before getting the bucket to go. But this is a Lynchburg team that conceded a 71% shooting performance to the Generals in the first quarter. And W&L was absolutely on fire. Started this game 31-12 after a quarter of play, and that was really all she wrote. Lynchburg looking for a different narrative today, ultimately needing to take care of business in every ODAC game through the remainder of the season. 3 contests in the ODAC to go between this game, EMU, and next Wednesday's date with Randolph. Dribbles around the perimeter. Vandergrift gave Norman some space. Really, the paint just swamped in this contest as Lynchburg guards tightly. Now 8 on the shot clock for the grad student Schwab. Left hand looking and running into traffic. Norman has to hoist it up off the right side of the rim. Bree Robinson, cleanup duties down low.
Really good job from the first year from Richmond. Staying until that buzzer beats, gets that offensive board and gets an easy layup because of it.
A lot of energy from the Marlins early. Vandergrift's 3, no good. Collected by Long. The Hornets, a team that has started to find other options when the three ball isn't falling. Not necessarily a live or die situation, but you gotta get that three-point shooting going early as Brianna Long adds 2 for the Marlins.
Well, it comes down to three-point shooting, obviously, for Lynchburg because they put so many shots up from behind the arc. But right now, so far in this first quarter, it's really been about the rebounding department.
Absolutely, and you want to get some of those offensive rebounds. Marlins right now up 7-3 in the rebounding category. Vandergrift from the logo, shot clock winding down, no good. Not a shot that this Lynchburg coaching staff will like. Vandergrift did have smart awareness to take the shot, not let that shot clock expire. But right now, Virginia Wesleyan sucking the energy out early. Littlejohn glided in the paint with Michaela Clark. Looks like she's going to pick up the personal.
Virginia Wesleyan really doing everything right. If you look at the Lynchburg offensive end, the Marlins have been doing a fantastic job on defense. They've been shutting down Spainhour as of right now into the paint. And that's really where this Lynchburg Hornet offense drives through. And Olivia Harris she's on the court now, but when you don't have Olivia Harris on the court, you know that this Lynchburg offense is going to be looking for your big body down into the paint with Bree Spainhour.
She can ultimately facilitate so many different plays as the swat once again down low leads to Lynchburg transition. Casey Kelly just entering the contest, couldn't get the layup to fall. An entirely new supporting cast for both squads. As Virginia Wesleyan's Mackenzie Wiggins ready to fire, thinks about it, crossover jumper off the mark, rebounded by Casey Kelly. Lots of pace as Audra Petty can't get the three to fall. Lynchburg now 0 for 4, still searching for their first three-pointer. Here comes Virginia Wesleyan. Trying to defeat this Lynchburg bench who's trying to bring a little bit of energy back into Turner. Wiggins, pass outside, around the perimeter we go. 6 on the shot clock. Blaylock maybe trying to find an opening, won't happen before the referee intervenes.
Got a little bit of contact from Olivia Harris. We see when you look at the Lynchburg defense, we talked about it beforehand that Virginia Wesleyan Marlins, they're not the most three-point attempting team, and Lynchburg's giving them that space from behind the arc, forcing the Marlins to push towards the paint.
Well, right now, both teams have taken 4 three-pointers, and Virginia Wesleyan's made 1. Lynchburg hasn't. Maybe the storyline thus far, as Harris can't corral it. Casey Kelly, offensive rebound, chance for 3, front iron. Keep it going, maybe third time's a charm. Oh, the reversal. Olivia Harris writing an essay with the English down low. And Lynchburg finally snaps almost a 6-minute scoreless drought.
Well, a really nice finish from Olivia Harris, but look, none other than Casey Kelly doing a fantastic job with getting 2 offensive boards and keeping that play alive.
Now the Marlins trying to defeat the Echoes. 6 seconds on the shot clock, up, and Spainhour blocks it again, all over this defense, and her second block of the contest.
Really nice job, Spainhour, keeping her footing into that interior, and again, pretty much doing exactly what Virginia Wesleyan's doing on the defensive end.
Blaylock didn't get the shot off. It was a good look from the Marlins, but unable to beat the burning Ticks. And Lynchburg takes over with 1 final possession here in this first. Olivia Harris looking to facilitate and maybe get this one back into a 1-possession ball game. Heading into the second. Ticks going off. Harris just wants to go inside through traffic. So slippery to get to the paint.
Really nice job by Harris, our player to watch in this one. You can see Coach Allison Nichols urging her on to go up the court. She wanted to waste some time, got the clock down to 3, a really nice shot, and that chance for 3 points.
1 more at the line. Do the Marlins have a heave in store? Schwab from half court Front rim and out. Looked close, looked good, but overall, a 1-point game heading into the second quarter. Virginia Wesleyan starting to find their stride and holding Lynchburg to just 10 points. But Olivia Harris generating some offense for the Hornets.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals. We've got one professor for every 10 students, so you can get all the support you need. In the classroom, in the lab, or in nature, you'll learn by putting yourself out there, and we're right there with you.
Back in Turner Gymnasium, let's take a look at the standings of the ODAC as we head into the second quarter. Right now, when you look at the top of the table, this is a Randolph-Macon squad that has dominated in conference play, 13-0, just one loss on the season. It was the same story when they entered Turner Gymnasium earlier this year. But you see Lynchburg sitting in the 10th spot. Still a lot of reasons for optimism. You're hoping that Randolph drops a few games as they have a tough schedule heading down the remainder of the schedule. And as we said, they will face Lynchburg on Wednesday. That will be a big toss-up for that 8th seed.
Well, like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, Lynchburg really has their fate in their own hands. It's going to come down to how well they play basketball in the last couple games of the regular season.
It's a great way to put it, and it's ultimately a great position to be in because you don't rely on those other teams to lose games. Now, granted, Randolph could go against one of these tougher opponents and get a win. It would make life very difficult for this Lynchburg team, but you also mentioned Hollins being in the conversation, another team that has tough games down the rest of the way. I mean, you could say that about everybody in the ODAC because it's so stacked in that top 8 and really no easy games this season.
Well, we talk about it every single broadcast, how good ODAC teams are and how good every single sport is when it comes to this conference. The ODAC, it's really just a powerhouse on the East Coast.
Sure is, and it is not going anywhere, as Lynchburg will have the ball under their bucket. Searching for options is Littlejohn. She finds Kaysen up top. Maybe a little extra urgency here in the second quarter for Lynchburg as Audra Petty was ready to throw it away. Foul on the floor. Coach Nichols coming into this contest, she said it really throughout this entire season, just saying you got to bring the extra energy and hustle, especially against these big ODAC matchups, these big games that you know you got to have. And it feels like this Hornets team has to understand this is the moment you've been playing for.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, as much as you want to win your games at the beginning of the season, at the end of the season, we talk about it and we sound like a broken record. Having the fate of your regular season in your own hands is so much better than having the fate in some other teams. And obviously, you really want Randolph to lose, and you could argue that that is having Randolph at your fate, but it's really Lynchburg playing Randolph in about a week. That is so important, finding a W in that game.
Well, and Randolph plays Guilford on their senior day on Saturday. That's the next update we will have, at least in terms of those ODAC standings. As Schwab almost lost the ball, now outside. Hunter passes the ball to Blaylock. Short corner going up. Can't corral, but Bree Robinson, another rebound out to Schwab. We've seen that a few times. Keegan Schwab starting to get hot.
Another offensive rebound by Bree Robinson and another wide open shot by Keegan Schwab. And she's going to hit that almost every single time with that much space.
looks so confident. Schwab, the grad student from Fairfax Station. This is a Virginia Wesleyan roster that is almost exclusively from Virginia, as Kate Littlejohn goes up and in once again, the right hand to perfection. The only player on this Marlins squad that is not from Virginia is Alyssa Clabo from Mount Airy, North Carolina. Definitely a lot of home cooking going on, a lot of good things to come as the traveling violation sends it Lynchburg's way. Bree Spainhour re-enters the contest for Casey Kelly. Look at that with the right hand and authority down low. Kate Littlejohn is obviously one of those shooters that you would at least look at from her role last year at Roanoke, being a true shooting guard, but she is finding so many tools in the toolbox.
Well, it's so encouraging for Coach Nichols to have her in your lineup. She's been doing so well so far, averaging just over 10 points at 10.1. With the rest of this team and how well they've been doing, when you've got Olivia Harris and Bree Spainhour doing most of the scoring in majority of the games, knowing that you have just a sophomore in Kate Littlejohn, with the progression that you're going to have with that player, it's really exciting.
Well, and not necessarily being in her traditional role as the shooting guard. She's really manned the helm this year for Lynchburg at the point. So impressive to see that versatility as Schwab's off the mark. Brianna Long tried everything to keep the ball on the right side of the hardwood. Can't do it, and Lynchburg takes over, now down just 2.
Well, that was a really nice offensive rebound by Brianna Long. She was in between 2 Hornets. Just unfortunately, a foot stepped out of bounds, giving Lynchburg the rock.
Hornets trying to equalize. Spainhour up top, looking for Littlejohn, who was posting down low on Blaylock. And wow, the Marlins really close. That turnover number so far already up to 8. Here comes Virginia Wesleyan, now probing. Robinson, the pass to a cutting Hunter, who reverses and swishes it home. Beautiful touch.
Really nice job by Hunter, and I want to look at your top of the screen. Coach Bello is so engaged in her players in the game, and that's something that you love to play for as a player. We talk about often the type of players that coaches want, but really that's a type of coach that a player wants to play for.
You got to get your Fitbit to record all the steps on the sideline. Audra Petty is certainly sending a little miracle Lynchburg's way. The first three-pointer they've made today, previously 0 for 6. And Petty able to knock one home, make it a 1-point game just for a few seconds as Bree Long once again off the glass and in.
Well, hopefully that 3 can dust off some of the cobwebs and get them into some momentum from behind the arc. But you also got to keep playing defense on your side of the court.
Definitely a back-and-forth game, and the Marlins right now holding Lynchburg on the offensive side. Once again, able to get the swipe. Now a little bit of transition. Schwab ready again. Rattles out.
Almost got that one to go, had a decent look. Littlejohn was a little late on the defense there.
Schwab maybe got away with some contact. Far away as well. Spainhour just runs right into Jaden Hunter. Foul called on the shot, so 2 free throws on the way for Spainhour, the junior out of King, North Carolina. Jada Norman re-enters for the Marlins. Ashley Vandergrift will come into the contest with Sayla Parker. 5:06 here in the second quarter. 3 games yesterday, 3 games today in the ODAC. Obviously, that is due to a lot of the snow in the area. A lot of those typical Wednesday games got moved to today. But looking at the contests that have already happened, Guilford defeated Averett 78-53. Roanoke beat Holland 69-47. That helps Lynchburg's position going for that 8th seed. And the Mary Washington, who is on the schedule as the last game against Lynchburg, they get the victory versus Shenandoah 56-49. A very tough Hornet squad in Winchester. We will keep our eyes peeled around the league as Hunter once again finding her way and stomping into the paint.
They're doing a really nice job driving in they're creating their own open space in the paint, and that's what's so beautiful about this team so far in this first half.
Here comes Vandergrift once again, runs into the brick wall down low. And the Marlins have done such a great job of limiting those opportunities by the bucket. I think you understand if you're Coach Bello, this is a team that has shot 1 for 7 from beyond the perimeter, forced them inside. And now, great trouble on the far side. Looks like the Marlins able to retain possession, but Lynchburg bringing a lot of hustle and a lot of energy, still trying to find their stroke. The Marlins trying to keep their foot on the gas pedal. They're up 3 in the second quarter.
Look what you're missing. It really don't matter to me. I'm just happy to be here. I might go crazy.
Well, we had a suspicion this one would be tight. It was tight almost the entire way the first time that these teams met back in January. Lynchburg took a 65-56 victory in Virginia Beach, a very difficult track to go all the way east. But it wasn't really a big disparity until the final 3 minutes, where Lynchburg was able to take that advantage at the free throw line. Struggling shooting-wise early, but maybe a run on the way here as the Hornets down the court in a hurry. Harris, the fake on the pass, brings it back outside, opens up more space, and a brilliant play from number 2 in White.
Really fantastic job. We talked about it earlier. It looks like this offense so far is running through Olivia Harris, and that's exactly why we are keeping an eye on her throughout this matchup.
She needed 21 points to get to 1,000. She's at 8 here in this first half, as Schwab tried to gain separation going inside. Foul is on Olivia Harris. Little too much extracurricular activity, and the ball will be placed under the bucket for the Marlins. Casey Kelly steps back in, replacing Audra Petty.
See a lot of physicality on this court for the Hornets. Bunch of players that are not afraid to take some contact.
Definitely got to be active. Look at the contact and physicality from Bree Long down low. Now Jaden Hunter getting back to her spot, looking to isolate Jada Norman. Runs into trouble, back downstairs to Hunter. Look at the gather, and up and in. Absolute dominance down low. And Jaden Hunter, maybe the X factor this Lynchburg team wasn't expecting. And she has a chance for a three-point play.
Well, we were just talking about the physicality, and when you look at this replay, a ton of contact and a really nice job there.
20/20 vision, and the ball is off the Hornets. So not the break that Lynchburg wants. Virginia Wesleyan doesn't get the free throw. A team that is shooting just 59% from the stripe this season, but able to catch a lucky one. Got to watch out for Harris. The hustle on the defensive end might have numbers up top to Spainauer, who found herself too far under the bucket. Vandergrift ready to fire, no good. A carousel of opportunities for Lynchburg, but they still retain possession. Here comes Vandergrift once again, trying to pull away with the mid-range. And all of a sudden, it feels like opportunities galore doesn't result in a bucket.
Well, there it is again, another offensive rebound for Wesleyan. They've been doing a fantastic job with that.
Jaden Hunter denied by Bree Spainhour. Third block of the night, maybe fourth. We talked about it earlier during one of the breaks. Feels like Bree Spainhour's hands have been all over this defense.
She's been all over the paint, and that's exactly what you want to see from Spainhour. One of the most important players on this team, as we talked about how well she plays in the paint.
Traveling violation called before the bucket. And Ethan, that is a very interesting point because Bree Spainhour, one of the players who every season doesn't start until a few games in with volleyball's conclusion. And you understand if you're Coach Allison Nichols, you got to integrate her because she is truly one of those staples in this lineup, but she just is so comfortable so quickly with the rest of this team.
Well, we talked about how Olivia Harris is a 5-tool player, but Bree Spainhour, one of those 5-tool athletes, also in the two-sport athlete, like you said, playing volleyball throughout the fall season.
It's all about athleticism. She has a little bit of everything, including the layup for Lynchburg that gives them the lead.
Like you talked about, being able to integrate her into the lineup as fast as you can, obviously with the seasons overlapping towards the beginning of the basketball season. Being able to put her into the lineup is so crucial for this team, and we talked about it early in the season, how much of an impact she has for everybody on this team.
So active. Correction on the last point. Lynchburg still down one, but Olivia Harris, oh wow. Watch out. The highlight reel continues for Olivia Harris, who's the first to double digits here in this contest.
You see everybody getting hype on that one, as we can see the parents and the players to the left of us all standing up and celebrating that amazing move.
You don't know how to think when Olivia Harris starts going into her bag. Gotta watch out. Jaden Hunter, another big contributor. Long travels, and all of a sudden, the momentum inching its way towards Lynchburg. Look at this. Oh, wow. Take your time. Be patient, Olivia Harris.
When you've got that much space on those moves, you can do whatever you want right under the bucket. But these turnovers right now for Virginia Wesleyan to end the half, with Lynchburg coming back and taking a lead with just a minute left. These are the most important turnovers for Lynchburg to score off of.
Lynchburg trying to use the second quarter run. Trying to hold the Marlins scoreless on their end. Littlejohn cutting. Couldn't find Casey Kelly. Great reversal. Another layup in the paint. Kate Littlejohn extending the arsenal down low.
The change of direction on that play was so clinical for Littlejohn, switching the play up at least 2 times. A fantastic job from Littlejohn.
So much versatility. Feels like a must-have here if you're Lynchburg to get a stop heading into halftime and keep the hustle going. Three-pointer from Blaylock. Found the open window, and now a tie ball game. Can Spainhour change it up? And a foul is called in the final second. Not what you want if you're Coach Bello, and Bree Spainhour smart to capitalize. Here's another look at Kate Littlejohn's nice work down low. And as the seconds died off the clock, Bree Spainhour able to earn the foul, and she'll get 2 shots. Don't know if any time is remaining. The referees will head over to the monitor and take a look.
Well, I tell you what, that 3 from Blaylock with just under 4 seconds left, that is absolute ice in her veins to be able to knock that down, especially on the type of day that we have here in Code Red. After you just make that really nice bucket by Littlejohn, the ability to be able to drain that 3 from that deep with a contested shot, I mean, that's fantastic job by Blaylock.
Well, and we've tried to write this narrative as clearly as possible. Virginia Wesleyan 3 for 7 from three-point land. Lynchburg 1 for 8. So obviously the Marlins have the advantage percentage in that category. You go back to the three-pointers from this season. Lynchburg has attempted 114 more than their opponents this year. They are essentially a live or die by the three type of team. They have found their way in other paths, but how about the Marlins taking their chance from beyond the perimeter and capitalizing?
Yeah, absolutely, and we talked about it during one of the breaks that Lynchburg, like you said, they really live and die by this three, and what they struggle with is if that three, if you can't knock that down, you got to find other ways to score.
They have definitely found so today. You see contributions from players like Kate Littlejohn down low, Olivia Harris with some nifty moves in the paint. You just wonder if it's a matter of time until the Hornets can awaken that offense from outside. Energy still alive here in Turner Gymnasium. 0.2 added to the clock, enough for the Marlins to line up on the blocks. 2 shots on the way, and Lynchburg can gain the lead heading into the halftime huddle. Spainhour so far in this contest, 4 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Knocks home the first. A lot to consider in both locker rooms after 20 minutes, but overall, Lynchburg knows that this is a very similar situation to the first matchup in Virginia Beach. And in essentially a must-win contest as we head down the rest of the regular season. The Hornets have everything in their hands and everything to play for. A lot to unpack here in Turner Gymnasium. We'll take a quick break, have some halftime stats and analysis on the other side. But here in the Hill City, Lynchburg just trying to inch away.
Living the dream.
USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go on a personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
It's not.
How you feeling?
Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
My name is Alexis Fabula. I major in criminology and I double minor in psychology and criminal forensics. My favorite part about Lynchburg is the friends that I've come to have. It's helped me come out of my shell more, and it's helped me become the person I am and the student I am. I really enjoyed how small the campus was, and I also really enjoy how small the class sizes are. It made me feel like I was going to be more engaged than I would at a bigger campus. If someone was on the fence of coming to the University of Lynchburg, I would definitely love to sit down and have a conversation with them, because I'm forever grateful that I made this choice. It's definitely something that a student wouldn't regret. Out of my 4 years here, I've not had one bad experience. I've had a great 4 years, and I'm going to be very sad to go.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and ropes course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
Tim Slusser from the Outdoor Leadership Program gave a presentation at a Teaching and Learning Resources conference here about getting his program more involved on the academic side of campus. I mentioned computers and mapping, and he mentioned caving, and eventually we came up with the idea of mapping caves.
So the week before, we were able to learn how to use the instruments kind of like on a flat surface and just kind of get a hang of how they work. But it was really amazing how once we got in the cave, it was a completely different experience using them.
It was unique. It got most of us out of our comfort zone, kind of gave us a new experience, a new taste of something new. But I think the most difficult parts were getting the lighting right. You had to read the instruments with the headlamps while keeping your eye pointed on the plot point.
This allowed them to actually literally get their hands dirty, collecting data, conducting measurements, and putting all that together in the form of a map, and doing it in a place that's never been mapped before.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. I 100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it.
When creating a sustainable future, your choices matter, even your choice of a college. The University of Lynchburg is the first college in Virginia to go carbon neutral. Our dining hall is Green Restaurant certified. We compost all of our food waste and purchase our electricity from landfill gas. Now we're turning a hazardous lake into a thriving urban wetland. When you choose Lynchburg, you leave a smaller footprint while building a better tomorrow.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Welcome back in Turner Gymnasium. Evan Gates and Ethan Morotsky, and after one half of play, Lynchburg leads Virginia Wesleyan 27-25 heading into this third quarter. Ethan, Obviously a poor shooting display from Lynchburg in this first half, but they found other ways, and Olivia Harris's 10 points felt absolutely crucial.
Yeah, finding other ways to score. We talked about it before the half ended. Finding those ways to score when your main scoring output is not hitting, and that's, of course, the three-point shot today. It's really important, and Olivia Harris has been doing a fantastic job. And Virginia Wesleyan, really, if you want to snuff that out, you really got to be able to contain Olivia Harris and her driving into the paint.
Well, you see on your screen just 13% from three-point range for Lynchburg, as you just alluded to, but Virginia Wesleyan dominating in that rebounding department as well, and it felt like even when the Hornets had third or fourth chance opportunities, they still didn't come away with the bucket.
Well, that's just the thing. They're dominating in the rebound department, 19-11 in favor of the Marlins. It feels like a majority of them have been on the offensive end, and that's really what's been killing the Hornets so far in this one. Obviously up by 2, but the Marlins have been able to stay in it because they get that offensive board and they get those second chance opportunities, and they hit them a majority of the time.
Well, good news for Lynchburg is it's only a 2-point game, and with how poorly they shot, and they still feel like there's so much room for improvement, they are leading in this contest, so a lot to be optimistic about. We're also going to go ahead and take a look at the upcoming schedule, knowing that Lynchburg only has 3 more games remaining as we head into the climax. They're hoping to earn that 8th seed in the ODAC tournament. Right now, their eyes are set on this contest with the Marlins, but they'll head to EMU on Saturday. That's a 2 o'clock start time. That Randolph-Lynchburg game, the Hill City Showdown, a big one on Wednesday, and then Mary Washington takes on Lynchburg in a non-conference affair to round out the season. Not to say that that game doesn't matter, but it does feel like that's a good tune-up if you do make the ODAC tournament to kind of have a low-stakes assignment going into the biggest game of the season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Finishing off a regular season, obviously you want to finish it off with an ODAC team, but finishing it off with an out-of-conference, it makes it a little different going into the playoffs if you make it. It forces you to play a little different, play out of your comfort zone. It forces you to play a team that is out of conference and somebody that you don't usually play all year long. So it's definitely going to be a little different for Lynchburg, but like you said, it could be a positive for them, and that's really what you have to look for going into the end of a regular season where you have to win every single ODAC game.
Well, it's a very good and very strong Mary Washington side, so we don't want to write it off that they are a poor playing team. They are fantastic, but as we just said, you know, it is good to have a different vision as we get set for this third quarter. You saw Olivia Harris having a lighthearted conversation with the assistant Whitney Hobson as we head into this third quarter, and maybe the conversation is about eyeing 21 points in this contest that would give her 1,000 in her home gym. That will be a storyline to follow as she had 979 coming into this contest. The Marlins now reversing around the perimeter, and Jaden Hunter, who has the ball now, a big reason why they dominated down low, but this time she's denied on the first possession. Schwab up and in on the left side, found the opening and seized it.
Really nice job, really nice contested shot. A decent job by the Lynchburg defense. Just Schwab going to hit that almost every single time.
She is really the only consistent three-point shooter on this side, as Brooke Kaysen, one of those for Lynchburg, or excuse me, Andra Petty, couldn't get it to go. And the Marlins set the other way. To put this into perspective, Keegan Schwab is shooting 17 percentage points above the next three-point shooter on this Marlins side, shooting 36% from beyond the perimeter, and the next one's in the teens.
We've been talking about Olivia Harris and how a majority of this Lynchburg offense runs through her. But this offense for the Marlins easily runs by Schwab.
Well, Bree Robinson can get in on the action as well. The freshman can't get this jumper to fall. It's out of bounds. Here comes Lynchburg.
Well, the good thing for this Marlins offense is that we've seen different names being called. I mean, there's 6 different scorers so far in this one. Obviously, Hunter and Schwab with the majority of the points, both sitting at 8, but having 6 different scorers is really nice for this team, especially, I mean, you look over there on their bench to, well, can't rise up right now, but if you pan over to the right, when they go back onto the offensive end, really only 4 players on that bench.
They got 9 players. All of them have been active. But Kate Littlejohn, a big-time jumper, and Lynchburg needs it. They go up 3. And that's so interesting with every other team because we've talked about different bench sizes throughout the year. The Marlins use everybody on theirs as Bree Robinson gets up into the paint. But it is an even spread, and as you said, 6 different scores. That's pretty important to have everybody have a role in the system.
Absolutely. If you can get everybody included, it gives you that much depth. And we talk about how there's so many first years on this Marlins roster. They have another recruiting class coming in, and that's just adds even more excitement into this young roster.
Completely Coach Bellows recruiting now, and it's starting to look very optimistic as this program heads into the future. Lynchburg looking for another 3. Andra Petty straight away and knocks it home.
Really nice shot, really nice passing by Lynchburg. Olivia Harris, nice job finding some open space off of that little miss dribble. Audrey Petty just rolls around the rim and knocks down a 3.
And after a 1 for 8 3-point shooting display in the first half, the Hornets are 2 for 3. They've already gone above that total. Marlins trying to find an opening. Great pass from Schwab over the top to Hunter. Connecting inside to Brianna Long. No good. And how about the hustle from Bree Robinson? Possession arrow still pointed the Hornets' way, but credit to this Marlins side. So scrappy on these rebounds.
Absolutely, and sometimes with the team that's a little more conservative so far on the rebounding column with Lynchburg when they're on the paint, having that scrappy, that feistiness, trying to get those rebounds can be just as important.
Littlejohn, nothing but nylon all the way downtown. Don't wake up the sleeping giant. Lynchburg 3 for 4 from beyond the perimeter. And the total just climbing to start this third quarter.
Well, it seemed like it was all Harris in that first half, but you can't miss out on Littlejohn. If she starts to heat up, that's just going to give even more space for the rest of this team.
Another tightly contested rebound that Petty finally corrals. You don't want to let one player get hot because all of a sudden the paint becomes so much more open. Watch out, Andra Petty tries to splash it home, and it clips the front rim. That would have felt like a very difficult dagger to overcome here, even in this third quarter. We've been keeping this game so tight, back and forth the entire way.
But we saw Lynchburg had all the momentum going into halftime. As of right now, they have a decent amount coming out of it.
Mason Blaylock trying to put a stop to it. A big 3 as we went into halftime, and she hits a big 3 here in this third quarter when the Marlins need it. Spainhour creating space. Great defense from Long, doesn't matter. Spinning and winning. Bree Spainhour off the glass and keeps it clean.
Double team can't contain Spainhour, but that was very nice defense.
Robinson rushes a shot off the mark. All of a sudden, Lynchburg starting to gain even more transition. Andra Petty kicks it out to Littlejohn. She's hot and not able to connect this time. Felt like it was going in before it even left her hands, the way she's shooting right now. Kate Littlejohn, 12 points, 5 for 5 from the field until that shot.
Well, that's that confidence that we've been talking about all game, and being able to build that up in such a crucial moment in what's been such a tight matchup so far is just so important for this team.
Here's Bree Spainhour keeping that pivot foot down low. She is just so smart with her steps and the timing, something that definitely comes with experience. Schwab creates space down low, denied, and the foul on the Marlins far away. Coach Bello can't believe it, but Brooke Kaysen heckled right under the hoop. And that'll take us to our media break with 4:55 to go in this third quarter. So we will take a quick break. Lynchburg's up 6. They jump out early here in this third quarter. We'll see if they can hold on the other side.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
4:55 to go. Lynchburg up 6, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at our back pocket stat of the game. It goes all the way back to last season. Some disparity on the schedule between what the Hornets were able to do last year and this year. And when you look back at last year's schedule, Lynchburg never conceded 3 consecutive games. They never had a 3-game losing streak. They've done it twice this year, and they've only won 1 game out of the last 8. But the Hornets starting to be on the up, and it feels like with the schedule remaining here in the regular season, Ethan, a lot of reasons to be confident.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and confidence, we talked about it before this break, and we've talked about it all game. Confidence is so important for this team going into the playoffs. It's important for any team, and knowing that you're fighting for a playoff spot for the last 4 games of the season, it just means those games have that much pressure on them.
Feels like for every team, February is important. Even if you're not trying to get in the tournament, maybe you're trying to really secure your seeding, as Schwab was off the mark. But it does feel like this Lynchburg team has to have even more urgency. Kelly, bounce pass down low, oh, outside. Brooke Kaysen. Shot was wide open. Second chance from Kelly. And she'll head to the stripe for 2.
There's that physicality and that scrappiness we've been talking about from the Marlins. But that's really what you're going to get from Casey Kelly, and that's what we've seen from her so far in this game. She's not afraid of any physical contact, whether that's on the offensive end or getting a rebound on the defensive end.
Well, she is always in the mess. Last year led the team in offensive rebounds with 54. And she is constantly hustling for this squad when they need it. Definitely a great energy injection off the bench. As she'll have 1 more at the line. 3:59 to go here in this 3rd quarter. Hornets have opened up this 3rd quarter shooting 56%. The best frame so far for either team. Now around the horn, here's Michaela Clark. Few right dribbles, denied once again. Who else than Bree Spainhour, but Kaysen threw it out of bounds. You could tell she was having a lot of trouble from the defensive end. The foul is called on Michaela Clark. Lynchburg fortunate with that one.
There's that defense from Spainhour, like you said. It seems like she is all over that paint, and you're never going to get a free bucket with her down there.
Full court pressure from the Marlins. Absolutely a lot of attention to detail on the defensive end for Bree Spainhour, and it often goes unnoticed. We don't necessarily talk about her defensive stats as much as we do her prowess to get the ball down low, but she has really accelerated on both ends as Harris goes off the glass. She will have 2 at the stripe. No, it's going to be foul call on the other end, or travel. Looks like that's the signal that Coach Nichols gave. Keeping the heat on here in Turner Gymnasium. Some snow in the area the last few days, some power outages in the area, and you're doing everything you can if you're the principals or administrators in the school systems just to have at least 1 day of school this week, because it's been all over. Fortunate to get Virginia Wesleyan here to Lynchburg. Speaking with Coach Bello before the game, she said, it's tough having the travel schedule that we do because you are so far east, but this team is used to it, and it makes you so much tougher having to travel for every single game of the year. There's an expectation to get off the bus and be ready to play, and it feels like they've definitely stepped up to the plate game after game.
Well, yeah, absolutely. the drive to and from Virginia Wesleyan, it's definitely not short. It's a very long one, and both these teams have had to do it so far, or every season they have to do it, and I can tell you from experience, it's not a fun drive going all the way down to Virginia Wesleyan, and I'm sure all of these girls on the Marlins team can say the exact same thing. So to be able to come off of that long, almost 4-hour drive and play a basketball game in snow outside, a little bit of a different atmosphere, and it's a code red night for Lynchburg, it's not easy for this Marlins team.
Absolutely right. So many different factors, and they've still stepped up. They are down 11. Feels like Lynchburg has started to sneak away. A 7-0 run in the last 3 minutes, and Virginia Wesleyan scoreless during that span. But obviously that goes to the field goal percentage as well, 1 of 7. Now the Marlins look inside. Norman weighing the options. It falls through to Clark. Schwab just has to get a shot off, almost sunk it, and the Hornets take over.
That's really great defense from Lynchburg. They're making sure that the Marlins have to rush outside of the paint, and if they are inside the paint and under the bucket, it's always going to be a contested shot.
Here's Littlejohn. Oh, wow, the Euro step. Blink and you'll miss it. Whispers through the paint for 2.
Really nice job from Littlejohn so far at the start of this second half. We talked about it, how it was really all Olivia Harris in the first half, and that gave Littlejohn some space to heat up on to herself in this second half.
Hornets really starting to crawl away, 3 in double figures, and it has been a big-time performance when this team has needed it the most from Kate Littlejohn. 14 points right now to lead the team in her 19 minutes, and what a performer she has been this year. You look back to last year's campaign with Roanoke, started 15 games and averaged 27 minutes per contest, so certainly first off the bench, and the majority of those contests she didn't start. But the 44 made 3-pointers were what everybody was talking about on this Lynchburg coaching staff. She would have been second on the team last year, and instead it is this driving ability that's starting to show up in big ways.
Well, and what's so encouraging is that she's just a sophomore. We talked about it earlier, and to be able to transfer into a completely new program and have that much of an impact as a youngster, I mean, being an underclassman and playing in any conference is not easy, and Littlejohn blowing that one out of the water, having a 10.1 points per game. She's been doing a really nice job implementing herself into this system, and that's very encouraging for the future that this girl has on this team.
Well, it feels like there are so many great young freshmen here in the conference. We saw Paige Brewer from Roanoke just a couple weeks ago. She is really who you would think would lead that conversation for Rookie of the Year. But Virginia Wesleyan has a trio. Audra Petty for Lynchburg has shown up in big ways, both in the paint and from beyond the perimeter. And it just feels like so many different players are not only helping their squads, but they're instilling confidence for the next few years.
Well, absolutely, and if you're a basketball fan, that's just encouraging for the next couple years of women's basketball in this entire conference. You know that that talent is going to be there, and that in itself is just so exciting.
From the corner, Schwab, as Littlejohn got rattled up, and this time the defense comes down low. Traveling violation. Coach Bello knew it. On her knees almost. And a frustrating break after Virginia Wesleyan certainly had an open window.
That was fantastic defense from Casey Kelly off that rebound. She knows she didn't get it, but she immediately applied pressure, knowing that they were going to drive right after that offensive board.
You really want to try and shore up that rebounding battle. We mentioned was heading the Marlins' way 19-11 at the half. Now it's 22-19 Virginia Wesleyan, so Lynchburg has cut into that deficit. We're going to wait what the conversation is about. Heard the number 20 escape the referee's mouth. Don't know if anything was signaled to the scores table. 3-second violation is the call, courtesy of our PA announcer, Joe Brennan. Turner Gymnasium can get loud, but it can get quiet very quickly as well. And Selah Parker bumped on the other side. Michaela Clark once again picks up the personal.
Well, a little bit of miscommunication from the Marlins. Selah Parker doing a fantastic job getting that steal and giving Lynchburg the ball back.
Hornets in the bonus. 2 shots on the way from Selah Parker as Lynchburg leads by a baker's dozen. Substitution for the Marlins is Mackenzie Wiggins, a freshman out of Richmond, Virginia. Six freshmen on this Virginia Wesleyan roster, and a grad student as well in Keegan Schwab. This Lynchburg team a little bit different, having really two freshmen that have stepped in and definitely made contributions in big moments. Audra Petty and the player who just shot at the stripe, Sayla Parker. But it does feel like Kate Littlejohn as well, being a newcomer, a sophomore transfer, has entered that conversation. Everybody making leaps and bounds here in this season as the mid-range falls for Wiggins. Hornets trying to speed things up, doesn't work out. Travel called, and now Virginia Wesleyan can maybe try and start biting into this lead heading into the fourth quarter.
Well, we talked about the turnovers that Wesleyan was giving Lynchburg at the end of the first half, and now it's a little bit of a flipped script. Lynchburg, a couple turnovers, giving Wesleyan the ball. These are really important points to score here and bring that lead down.
Schwab ready to put it in the paint, doesn't work out. The extra dribble maybe a little bit problematic. Petty, left of the rim and out. Jump ball will go the Marlins' way with 11 seconds left. Final possession of the third quarter, or so we think. Parker up the court, tight defense on Blaylock. Pass goes up to Norman. Screen by Hunter. Shot up, misses everything. Case in the rebound, and it looks like that's how he will end it. Littlejohn got the shot off. Oh, wow. So we'll hold that conversation for the extra second, but Littlejohn can't add three, and that is where the third quarter wraps up. Lynchburg 46, Virginia Wesleyan 34. The Hornets trying to capture a big-time win as we head down to the climax, the end of the regular season on the way. Just one more week of ODAC basketball. Lynchburg wants a win tonight. Back to start the fourth quarter. We've talked throughout this contest about Coach Megan Bello for Virginia Wesleyan, and we definitely want to show love to the coach on the other side, as well as Brooke Kaysen, who knocks home another three for the Hornets just seconds into the fourth frame. Head coach Allison Nichols, the former Randolph head coach. Last year an ODAC quarterfinals appearance, a chance to go to the Salem Civic Center, and the Hornets definitely looking to crack that top 8 again. Ethan, last year it was a play-in format, and the Hornets got a home game versus EMU. They won that contest and earned the right to go to Salem, and so it definitely feels a little bit different being top 8 and you're going to somebody else's gym, but the Hornets know that is the big-time goal at this stage of the season.
Well, for some of these players, format changes aren't entirely new. Obviously, with COVID a couple years ago, playoff formats for every single sport was just completely different, whether you got home games or not. There weren't really too many neutral spots, so we've probably in the last 5 years had maybe 3 different format changes to playoffs. So these players, they're not new to the playoffs changing and how they're played, but it's definitely doesn't make it any easier.
Absolutely right, and it feels like it's constant adaptability. As a traveling violation was called, I think it was called before Harris got the ball. Never mind that. Coach Nichols having a conversation with Olivia Harris about getting the ball on the floor. So Virginia Wesleyan will take over. They're down 16. Ethan, if you're Coach Bello right now, what are you telling your squad? Not necessarily being a three-point shooting team, but needing that urgency.
Well, really, when you're down by as much as 16, with the season that you've been having, it's really all about controlling what you can control. Don't let anybody else take the ball out of your hands. You got to trust your instincts. Get it to your more experienced players, and that's what they did really well in that first half. I thought they did a fantastic job getting it to Schwab, and she knocked down a couple shots. But you really got to trust in your process and find your more experienced players. You got to control what you can control. Knock down the shots that you have right now instead of worrying about ones that you're going to want to knock down later.
Well, control is a great factor because we mentioned the 22 turnovers per game. Maybe the more important stat for the Marlins is that they're giving up 19 points off turnovers per game, and that's something you really need to take care of. And in these seasons to come, you know, Coach Bello's squad understands that the vision is on the next few years with the squad that they have. That's going to be a very big key to success.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We talk about it every single game. Points off of turnovers, they're really the most important points that you can have.
Definitely the gimmies, and here are 2 points off turnovers for the Marlins. Bree Robinson, an interception, and runs it all the way back. Now the Hornets maybe encountering a little bit of traffic. Harris, shifty with the ball to keep it out in front, but Bree Robinson playing great defense as well. You just want to try and speed up this Hornets offense. Kaysen passes outside. Littlejohn takes the shot off the mark. Spainhour goes up top for the rebound. Count it. Hitting the hardwood. An exclamation mark from Spainhour, who waits perfect timing and adds 2 plus a potential 1. Look at this. Just reading this to go over the top, and not much Claybo could do.
Fantastic job, and I don't know if you saw it, Evan, we caught a glimpse of emotion from Spainhour, and that's something, if you know Bree Spainhour, that's rare. When you walk into a court, whether it's volleyball or basketball, and you look at Spainhour, you're never going to know who's up and who's down.
She never gets too high or too low, but when she's ready to explode, that dog with the AW comes out, because Bree Spainhour is definitely deserving of the moments when they come. And another rebound to add to the tally. Hornets quick on the other side. Harris, few dribbles, fading away. Couldn't get it to fall. Here come the Marlins. Bree Robinson splitting the defenders up and in. Agile and nimble to get to the hoop.
Well, really nice job recognizing Littlejohn, obviously with the attempt to knock the ball away, but realizing that you're up 5-4 right now, and there's some open space under the paint because of it. Really nice job by Robinson.
Doing it on both ends. Really, so many Marlins that have been able to contribute on both sides of the ball. When you have 9 players on your roster, you got to get everybody involved, and Petty is called with the foul. And so the Marlins successfully speeding up this Lynchburg side on one end. They're going to get to the free throw line on the other, and Bree Long will add 2 shots. Jaden Hunter returns to the contest for Claybo. Long in last game versus Roanoke, 13 points and 13 rebounds. Definitely a big piece to the puzzle in the upcoming years. Coach Bello, Ethan said, you know, she's never seen a better rebounder, a player with a higher motor than Long, and it's just there's so much to look forward to.
Yeah, what I was going to say is 13 rebounds along with 13 points is so tough to do in such a physical conference, and it's really impressive, especially, and we look for, we've been talking about how the Marlins have been doing so well in the rebounding end, so you can easily look for her in this matchup.
Spainhour tried to jump stop, and Robinson tried to save it. Versatility is certainly something that coaches are looking at and saying, this is exactly what we need on our roster. And you think about last year, some of the players that have graduated from this Hornets squad, like Sayre Brandstatter and Sammy Sever, they did it in every stat category, and that's what the Hornets are trying to find this year. They've definitely had players who specialize in certain roles, but it feels like when that entire equation comes together, that's when the Hornets are going to get a few more wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Having those 5-tool players that can do everything on the court, is what you love to see, and that's what, like you've said, we've seen so far from Lynchburg in the last couple of years. And that's what we're trying to make players. That's what it looks like they're trying to make players out there on the court. When you look at, I mean, Spainhour with 17 points and 6 rebounds.
It's plays like that as well. Brooke Kaysen not afraid to do the dirty work defensively. Robinson lost her footing, and that's a travel. Great thought, poor execution. It's headed the Hornets' way with 6:24 to go in the final quarter. Kaysen looking for the inbound. It gets into Littlejohn. A reminder, the next broadcast for this Lynchburg women's basketball team next Wednesday versus Randolph, and maybe the game of the season if all holds true to form, as Littlejohn once again swishing it home, and magical from beyond the perimeter today is Littlejohn. 17 points and the third three-pointer.
Going back to that Randolph game, if everything holds up and Lynchburg keeps playing like this, it is easily the most important game of the season.
A lot to look forward to, and we know that every team out there is trying to capture the ultimate prize. So much great talent in the ODAC as Bree Long goes back up and in. But the Hornets understand the assignment, and a game they feel like they certainly could have taken against Randolph earlier in the year. That was, of course, across town, down Rivermont Ave, as a great pass from Littlejohn to a cutting Harris. Doesn't connect.
A really nice vision there from Littlejohn to find Harris. It's a little too much power on that shot.
Marlins on the other side. Passing around the horn, Blaylock. He's had a great couple of threes in this contest. Shot falls in. Once again, Bree Robinson, but the Hornets just so quick to get down the court, and Olivia Harris plays catch up to add 2.
The speed and the intensity by this Lynchburg offense lately, you wouldn't know it, but those are not fast break points. I mean, those are off of points from Wesleyan, and being able to have the ability to sprint down the court and keep them on their back foot is what's been so crucial for them in the last couple minutes.
The ability to create transition out of nothing is so important, and especially for a team that might feel undersized or not necessarily have those advantages in other departments. It has been something that has become very evident with this Lynchburg side. So we'll take another break. 4:30 to go in the fourth quarter. The Hornets with a comfortable lead in the Hill City.
Hi, Mara Willis. How are you? Pretty good.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something, it becomes a family. It doesn't matter how long ago you had your professor, they still remember you, and they remember all of the hard work that you put in. They're always there for you, and they always want to do the best that they can to help you succeed. Here, you learn how to love one another regardless of what's going on or what you believe.
Lynchburg squad runs back onto the court here in Turner Gymnasium. Just 4:30 to play. The only other contest right now around the league is Randolph-Macon taking on Salisbury. They're up 67-50 in the waning seconds of that contest. Of course, a non-conference affair. And then another one later tonight. Southern Virginia takes on Bridgewater, two teams that have certainly taken jumps from last season. We'll have to see how it plays out as Jaden Norman steps back in, replacing Long. 3 and double figures for the Hornets. Littlejohn and Spainhour both lead with 17 points. Bree Robinson now leads Vawez. She's at the line. Just tallied point number 11 of the outing. And last time versus Lynchburg, she was the leading scorer for this Marlins team with 18. Ethan, it's so interesting to consider too, because so many players who might not necessarily be the leader on their team has that 1 or 2 matchups that they just might explode in or have the right matchup, and that's where you're seeing some really different stat lines.
Well, what you'll typically see from players like that is those games that they have those outstanding totals. It's typically when you need other players to step up. Within those players. So obviously, when you take Schwab by example, if she were to not have a fantastic game, you would need other people or other players to step up, and that's really where your role players shine, is that they obviously don't get the point totals with your stars like Littlejohn and Spainhour, but it's those role players that when they need to step up, they're there for you, and those are really the most important players on every team.
Absolutely right. Coach Bello talked about Bree Robinson too. You see so much athleticism and so much hustle, but she said, she has been asked to essentially guard other teams' top guards and take those big assignments. And so that other teams are going to have tough tasks, and you even see Kate Littlejohn right now not able to really get a lot of space because Robinson is just right there every possession.
Littlejohn having the ability to still score 17 points off of Robinson's great defense is so impressive.
Shows the committee effort by the Hornets as well. They've had a lot of different contributors. 11 assists on the day, forcing 18 turnovers for the Marlins. And a slew of substitutions will be coming into the contest momentarily. Bree Robinson heads back to the stripe. Claybo's back in for Wesleyan. Casey Kelly, Ashley Vandergrift, and Olivia Harris will step back in for the Hornets. We mentioned it earlier in the contest. Olivia Harris was 21 points away from 1,000 coming into this contest. She's now at 13 on the day, so assuming there isn't accelerated scoring in these final 3 minutes, a great chance to get it at EMU. That contest, of course, on Saturday at 2 p.m. for the Hornets.
The main thing going into the end of the season for the Hornets is you don't want to rely on a Randolph loss. Obviously, you want to keep winning your games. You don't want to go into the end of the season hoping for a loss. You just want to go in knowing that we're going to win these games and put pressure on Randolph.
Well, interesting enough, Ethan, this Virginia Wesleyan squad will close out the season with Randolph, and so essentially Lynchburg after this contest is going to have to really hope that Virginia Wesleyan brings out a nice performance against the Cats across town, as Spainhour once again up and in. So versatile down low.
Gonna have a couple side conversations after the game, letting them know how important that end of the season is.
That's right.
If you're Lynchburg.
You don't want to put anything or any extra stuff into the equation, but you're just maybe some words of encouragement. But so proud of this program's trajectory and what they've accomplished, and even just talking to Coach Bello, you can tell the priorities are in the right spot for this Marlins team, as Vandergrift really creeping away in the corner, still knocks home the 3. Fantastic performance against Averett last time out in this gym, 15 points. And she is red hot when she starts shooting with confidence. This time Norman gets a step on Vandergrift, doesn't fall. Hornets can head the other way. Great vision up the court to Spainhour. And the Hornets elect to just slow things down. They can do so with a 20-point lead. They'll be able to capture win number 8 on the season as the Hornets add 2 more. Looks like Coach Nichols elects just to get the substitutions in. And it will be many of the starters hitting the bench for the Hornets as Darcy Ross and Letty Michael are back into the equation. Ross, one of the only seniors on this team with Olivia Harris and Mackenzie Brundage out of Covington, Virginia, and then Letty Michael, the sharpshooter from Lexington, North Carolina. Jaden Hunter playing bully ball down low, pass outside and around the horn. Now a chance in the corner for 3, no good. A rebound from Harris, but momentarily as Hunter tried to strip it away, and finally the Hornets come away with it. Here is Olivia Harris, winds and fires for 3. Continuing to keep it going. Here's the thing, the board inside Lynchburg and Turner Gymnasium says 18 points for Olivia Harris. So we're gonna see, she does have 3. She's might gonna take it now. Ready to fire off the mark. Everybody knew it. Maybe another chance, pass around. Does she have it? No. And the rebounds will have to fall. Everybody wanted it to happen in Turner Gym. But it's gonna have to pause as the Marlins will take this one out.
You can see everybody jumping on the bench for the Hornets side. It seems like everybody knows what's going on. Everybody wanted the ball to go to Olivia Harris.
We had some miscommunication between the stats online and your stats in-house here in Turner. So on your screen at home, it says 16 points right now for Olivia Harris, 18 credited to her on the scoreboard, and looks like she waved it off and said, yeah, we're going to be okay. Let's go ahead and get it at EMU. Might be one final heave. Let's see what the Hornets have in store. Are they going to take a big final pass? I think it's a little more classy for Coach Nichols' squad just to dribble this one out, but smiles all around, and the Hornets come away with the victory 72-49 against a Virginia Wesleyan squad that is up and coming, and Lynchburg is in a very big spot heading into the climax. Just a few more ODAC games. They need them all if they want to have that 8th seed in the ODAC tournament. Ethan, a few games left. It feels like everybody really starting to rein in some of that consistency again, because you understood this team went through a 7-game losing streak. They have seen the bottom of the cliff. They're back. They're trying to build consistency. They look great tonight.
Well, the most important thing for this Lynchburg women's basketball team moving forward is you've won this game and you won it by a pretty good margin. Obviously, you're looking forward to the Randolph game coming up because it's a head-to-head matchup, both teams fighting for that 8 spot. But you got to look for the EMU game first. You can't win a game that is in almost a week. You got to focus on the ones that are at hand and control. I said it earlier, you got to control what you can control, and that's EMU. You have nothing to do with Randolph until you've played Eastern Mennonite University, and that's what they have to focus on now.
Absolutely right, and one assignment at a time is going to be the strategy for this Lynchburg team, and they have faced everybody in the conference now, so you know exactly what to expect. It's an EMU squad that this Hornets team can beat. They've done so in the past, but you do know that they're going to bring their best. The Royals will certainly bring their brand of basketball, and then that Randolph game we cannot advertise enough. Next Wednesday, if you are sticking around on LHSN, going to be such a fun contest to watch. What is the keys to the game in that contest, Ethan? If you get past EMU, how do you rein in the emotions knowing it's a rivalry game in a Hill City showdown?
Well, like you said, when you talked about Lynchburg with EMU, you know you can beat the Royals and you know you can beat the Randolph Wildcats. There's a little bit more added pressure. Obviously, you have the most important game with the Code Red game tonight, how important that is to not just this basketball team, but everybody on campus. But it's almost like that Randolph game is just as important for bragging rights. Randolph about 5 minutes down the road, so a little bit more added pressure on that, but that's really what it's all about, is that pressure and not letting it get to you and playing the way that you can play and the way that you know how good you are.
When the stakes are the highest, you got to perform at your best, and Coach Nichols understands that. This squad is looking to get back into the ODAC tournament. They get past Virginia Wesleyan with a big-time second-half performance, 72-49. A big thanks to everybody on the LHSN crew, including our director, Jonathan Faust, who's already headed downstairs to get ready for men's basketball practice. That's versatility. We're just up here talking about it. But on behalf of the entire staff, he is Ethan Moratsky. I'm Evan Gates saying so long from the Hill City.